Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Unlocking Tampa Bay. I am your host, Brian Burns, and joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Molly Barbieri.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome, Molly. Great to have you back.
Welcome, Brian. Thanks. Glad to have you back.
Thank you. And I'm really glad to have our next guest on.
Me too. I'm very excited about today.
She is the inventor of the Kids Travel Talk conversation cards game. Really unique way to get kids talking about travel. And here at Visit Tampa Bay, we always like people talking about travel. Ana de Jesus, thank you for coming on and being a guest on our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. So how did this start? Like, what was the inspiration behind it? What was the genesis of how you had this idea and then the birth of like kind of launching it and getting it off the ground?
So I love traveling with my kids. We have traveled as a family internationally since my daughter was a year old. When she was 1, we took her to 10 countries.
Wow.
We love to travel and have always been big believers, my husband and I, of traveling with kids and showing them the world. And I just found throughout the years, as we then had another child and we traveled, that there was a need for a couple of things. One is to get kids involved in the planning of travel. Opening up that conversation where they get excited about going to a destination. They already know things before they get there, and they're more involved in the planning process, and they'll have a better time when they get there, right? Instead of just mom and dad planning, and then you just show up somewhere and do whatever mom and dad planned, right?
Right.
But getting them involved. And I really found that there wasn't a lot of options out there. I felt like we need something screen-free, so we're not just handing them an iPad when we get on the plane or at home. We want something for them to be involved with and really have travel conversations with us. So that's where the idea came from. Conversation cards have been around for a long time, but I found that there weren't any destination-specific travel cards. So that's really where my idea came from. Threw it out there to my kids because we're always talking travel and asking each other questions, and they loved the idea.
Okay, so a lot of questions off of that answer because I have a 2-year-old, and one of my biggest anxieties, I think, is flying with the 2-year-old. In fact, we try to make sure wherever we go is kind of within, it's a direct flight.
Right.
It's, we're not flying to Europe because we're like, I don't know if we can 8 hours in the plane.
You can totally do it.
I know. So I want what are your tips for making that happen?
So number 1, we always booked night flights.
Okay.
So we would keep the kids
so you just sleep it the whole time.
Correct. They keep them on their schedule. So we would leave, around 6, 7 o'clock. Sometimes when the kids were really young, I'd just put them in their pajamas and have
we've done that.
Tons of activities planned, tons of snacks. You can totally cook spaghetti and noodles and things and take it through TSA.
Yeah.
We've done it. Like, make sure you've got snacks.
Noting that for myself, actually.
Right? As long as you're prepared, you can really do it. I know that people are fearful of it because they're like, oh my gosh, what if my kid's crying the whole time? But I think really getting them excited about it before they go and explaining how you're going to get on the plane, you're going to put that seatbelt on. We've got this activity in your bag. We've got snacks. We've got spaghetti or noodles or whatever. And then let them go to sleep on their normal bedtime, like 9 o'clock, and the plane's starting to put lights out, and hey, we're going to all go to sleep. And then when we wake up, we're there to enjoy something. So something new and fun and new foods and new places to see.
Yeah. So that first year when she was 1 year old, where did you go? You said you went to how many countries?
So we went to 10 countries on that trip, and we took a little sabbatical from work. We did 7 months of just traveling with our 1-year-old and our suitcases, and we went all through Greece. We went all through Italy, all through Spain, Ireland, France, Portugal, England. Where did we go? Austria. We did Germany. I lose count here, but we've done it since, very early on, and also traveled with our son from early on. And my kids right now are like avid travelers. They are telling me the next place, hey, mom, let's go to this place next.
Yeah.
So It's really cool.
And no, like, bad experiences or anything that happened where you're like, "Oof, I don't know if I wanna do that again," like, with the travel or anything like that?
There's always gonna be something that goes wrong with
Yeah.
travel,
It's
right?
kind of
Because there's
inevitable.
just too many factors that you
Yeah.
cannot control. But one of the things that I do before we get there is we always have a conversation about, hey, something might go wrong. We might lose our luggage. We might have a delayed flight. We might not get there on time when we're supposed to. And we kind of talk about those things and say, but those things don't matter, right? We can get there a day late or luggage can be lost. But the most important thing is that we have family time and we're enjoying this travel together.
Right.
So we kind of put that, ahead of it before it happens and just change our mindset. And this is an awesome chance for us to travel as a family.
Yeah.
I like that
So,
sentiment.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to say too, is like people are going to be like 10 countries. Like, we're not jet setters. We are bargain travelers who find good deals on flights, and it takes a lot of planning, but you can do it with kids. Maybe not 10 countries in the first year,
Yeah.
um, but maybe plan, a trip every 2 years and, you know, collect all the miles on your credit cards. I do that, and then we have free tickets for the
Mhm.
next trip. So,
And so the conversation cards that kinda started out of these trips
yes.
with your children, and then were they specific to a destination when you started it, or were they more kind of generic topics?
So we always just wherever we were going, we would talk with our kids. And of course, being a former reporter, I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I would just ask my kids, just more specific questions instead of like, oh, are you excited about this? I would
Mhm.
be like, hey, what's the first food that you want to try when we get to Paris? Just getting specific and they would just talk and we would have such great conversations on the trip that then I thought, okay, I've got to do this. And when I came up with the idea, I said, you know what? I want to start with Tampa first because we live here in Tampa. I love Tampa. There are so many fun things for families to do here. And it's such an awesome destination that I was like, you know what? I've got to start first with Visit Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did that relationship start? Like, did you come to us with the idea of what you had or, like, the finished product? Like, just how did that work?
I did. So I made a prototype. I, got all my questions. I found a printer in the USA who was eco-friendly. And I said, can you do front and back? Because a lot of times with playing cards, it's like you can put a picture on one side and then on the other side is the regular playing cards.
Yeah.
Right.
So I asked them, can you print on both sides? And it took me, a few weeks to find somebody that could do that. And so I made a prototype and then I came to you guys and said, hey, this is a great way to promote the destination. There's a
Right.
lot of fun conversation questions in here for kids. And whether they're on the plane coming from somewhere headed to Tampa Bay, or if they're just at home and they want to have a fun game, maybe they live here and they just want to have a fun game with the cards talking about different destinations. Because, even when you live here, sometimes you don't take full advantage of all the awesome things to do, right?
Of
But
course.
but this helps you to see, oh, what if I do the water taxi this weekend and we stop here, 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 So
Yeah, I feel like that's awesome that you did start with Tampa because you do know so much about it, and
yes,
I feel like we promote family travel so much, and this is such a family-friendly
yes.
destination. I mean, with the Glacier Children's Museum, just all of the attractions on the Riverwalk,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. I mean, Zoo Tampa, Busch Gardens, like
Yes.
it's just a
The Florida
fantastic place for
Aquarium,
Yeah.
families to
everything's
visit. Yeah.
right here.
So I think it's really great that you did that. Are you planning to do like more destinations? Like, what are your plans for the
Yes.
future? What does
So
that kind of
I
look like?
started with the Visit Tampa Bay
Mhm.
deck, and then I have now created an Amsterdam one
Okay.
because we have a direct
Yeah.
flight from Tampa
Yeah.
International to
Perfect.
Amsterdam.
Love it.
I also did a Paris one now that I have
Mhm.
because, it was one of those places my daughter always dreamed of going.
Yeah.
And when we went, I mean, she just absolutely loved it. And I was like, you know what? There's a lot of other kids that are probably dreaming of going to see the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah,
So let me do
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
And so I created those 2 versions now since the Visit Tampa Bay one. And I'm hoping to sell those on my website. I haven't launched it just yet. I've ordered the cards, and hopefully we'll be launching that very soon.
I did see on your website that you're looking to do, I mean, I'm assuming you haven't like launched this yet, obviously, if you haven't launched the next 2 decks yet, but that you're wanting to do like a monthly subscription box of some sort, so that like
Yes.
parents
So-
can get a different destination each month and kind of go with their kids and, you know, as you said, like plan that travel. Like I think that's a very, very interesting aspect of incorporating the children into the trip planning, because
Yes.
not a lot of kids get to do that, and they probably don't get really excited, and it's really easy for parents to just hand their kids an iPad or something once they get to a destination or a dinner, and you know the kids just aren't engaged, and
Right.
you know they're just sitting there playing a game. So
Right.
I think what you're doing is fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yes, I put that up on my website to try to get some feedback from parents. Like,
Yeah.
hey, would a subscription box be cool?
Mhm.
You know, there are other subscription boxes out there for kids that have different activities, but I feel like this is like a small activity that you can actually take with you on the plane, or at home, you just keep it in the box, and when you're at, you know, the dinner table, you can take it out and do this. So I would really like to do as many destinations, you know, across Florida, across the US and Europe. You know, we've traveled a lot there, so I know a lot about several countries that I feel like, you know, kids would be really interested in planning that trip with their parents there.
Yeah. I like your idea of involving the children in the planning of the vacation. I noticed this with my daughter just this week, where I've been starting to make smoothies for her in the morning when she goes off to preschool. And the first time I let her help me with the smoothie,
Yes.
and she's putting, you know, the pineapples in, she's putting the mango in, and she drank it, loved it, and had a great time. The next day I started to make the smoothie without her. I hand her the smoothie, and she's like, "No, Daddy, I don't want that. I want to help make the smoothie." And she threw a temper tantrum, and then I had to go and make the smoothie again. But
Right.
it really, and now
They
like when I
love being
cook,
involved.
yeah,
Yeah.
when I'm cooking, comes over. She has like a little stool that she can pull up next to the, you know, over next to the counter, where she can kind of come up on the level of the counter, and she wants to help like measure stuff or cut something with her little, you know, her obviously her plastic knife,
Right.
not a
Right.
real knife,
Right.
but like just in the last couple of months, I've noticed this, how much like she wants to be involved in doing those kind of things. And so I think you're onto something there with getting them involved in the travel planning as well.
Yes. And, you know, with you saying like the smoothies, one of the things that I've always done with my kids is we'll make meals before we go somewhere too.
Yeah.
So before we went to Paris, we were getting like frozen croissants from like Trader Joe's, putting them on a baking sheet, letting my daughter bake them and have like croissants in the morning.
Yeah.
And like really getting her into that. And then the kids are more likely to eat those foods when you go there too,
Yeah.
right? Because they've already been exposed to them instead of getting somewhere, you know, far away and the kid's like, hey, is there mac and cheese?
Right.
You know?
Well, yeah, I feel like that's a huge thing because kids don't want to explore a lot of foods, which I mean, I do understand to an extent. Like I know textures and flavors and colors can be very intimidating when it comes to new foods.
Absolutely.
But I
In
think
a
it is
new place.
I think it's super important for them to at least try it and kind of experiment a little bit. I feel like the whole conversation behind the culture with it too is very enriching.
Right.
And, you know, it's not that amazing when kids are like, do you have chicken fingers and fries? And,
Right.
you know, the restaurant's like, we can do that.
Well, and I think parents would feel more confident going
Yes.
places, right? So if they've had like an Italian night once a week at home and, you know, let kids try different Italian foods and then they go to Italy, parents feel good too. Because then you're like, yes, my kid is going to definitely eat,
Yeah.
you know, this and this, and not worried about traveling and then not finding something, you know. And I also tell people, like, if worse comes to worse, there's a grocery store nearby.
Right.
And you can go grab something there that your kids will eat, but don't not travel with them because of that. Because I think that traveling with them makes them, you know, global citizens. They're curious about new foods. They're curious about seeing new things, and it really just opens their eyes.
Yeah, I feel like children are just honestly super curious in general. Like they're just very, you know, naturally curious. So it's great to kind of give into that curiosity and, just kind of like encourage them to
Yes.
explore that
Yeah.
instead of being like, no, 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 and
Yeah.
just letting them be themselves
Yeah.
and ask
And
the
I even
questions they
have
want.
questions in the conversation cards about food.
Right.
Yeah.
There's
We
one
were
in there
playing
about
it
the
a little bit
Cuban
this morning,
sandwich.
yeah.
Yeah, we were playing it a little bit this morning.
Yeah,
It was
we
actually
wanted to
kind of
see.
fun.
Let's actually, let's open this up and talk
Right?
about
See,
this.
they're for adults too.
Yeah.
And I know you said something earlier about, if someone that lives in Tampa can play this as well,
Mhm.
because it does kind of open your eyes to maybe some things that maybe like I haven't been here in a while,
Right.
or I haven't been
Right.
to this section of town in like a few years. How much has it changed since then?
Right.
Or some place that you
Absolutely.
don't really think about. So as far as I know, we're the only destination marketing organization that has
Yes.
these
That's right.
branded as far as like Visit Tampa Bay. And
Yes.
obviously you want to expand that into other destinations, but we're the first.
Yes.
Yeah, we greatly
guys.
appreciate that too.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I'm really excited
Yeah.
about this being the first one.
And you can find these in the Unlocking Tampa Bay Visitor Center.
Yes.
Down on the first floor of our office building. That's at
Mhm.
201 North Franklin Street. You
201
can
North
also go to visittampa.bay.com. Is there
Yes.
anywhere
right
else?
on your website?
Yeah, right
on
on
the
our
website.
website.
You can
Mhm.
grab them there.
Mhm.
Is there anywhere else people, if they wanted these, they could grab them?
So the Visit Tampa Bay edition, those are the two places. But on my website on kidstraveltalk.com
Mhm.
is where I'm getting parent feedback right now and getting ready to launch the Amsterdam and also the Paris one. I also have expressed my interest out of the airport. So fingers crossed
Yeah.
with a couple of the
Yeah.
stores there. I think
Makes
they would
perfect
be
sense.
Right.
perfect
Yeah.
there, right? Whether a kid is just getting off of a plane or a kid could be waiting for someone else to come and visit, that they would be right there and
Yep.
be able to enjoy these cards and learn
Even a
about the
road
destination.
trip, I mean,
Yes.
look at how compact it is. It's so perfect. It's
100%.
It's
Yeah,
so
easy to
travel
travel
friendly.
with.
This
Yeah.
is 100%. It's great for road trips
Yes.
because, the kids have something to do and they're not going to be saying, "Are we there yet?"
Yeah.
Instead the
classic.
whole family's going to be engaged. And I think too that something that's really dear to my heart is families having conversations. I had seen this AC Nielsen report a few years ago that said that families have about, I think it's 39 minutes a week of meaningful conversations with their kids
Wow,
because
that's it?
because everybody's in a rush and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, did you grab your lunchbox? Did you do this? But 39 minutes of meaningful conversations with their kids just isn't enough, right? So this is a way too that, if your kid doesn't want to talk about their day, maybe open up the deck and you find a fun card. And this is a way to have conversations with kids
Yeah.
and to enjoy that special
Absolutely.
family time.
Did you come up with the questions for these?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
So let's
And I did ask for advice from my kids. So I
Okay.
will tell you that
Love that.
too.
So we found these like very interesting. Obviously, a lot of like pirate themed
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah,
with
which
Visit
is
Tampa Bay.
Yes, yes.
Perfect for Tampa. So
Yes.
What is one food you want to eat in Tampa Bay? What did you say yours was?
okay, so I can't actually eat it because I'm gluten free, but I would love to eat a devil crab.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a
that's
very
like one
Tampa
thing I haven't eaten
It-
yet. I could probably
it
take some
is.
gluten pills.
Yeah.
What about you, Anna? What's one food you want to eat in Tampa Bay?
I do love Cuban sandwiches.
Yeah?
I just
Okay.
had one yesterday, but I also like garbanzo bean soup.
Ooh.
Which,
Okay.
yeah, there's a lot of good local places that have a good garbanzo bean soup.
Where can you give me one?
The Columbia.
The Columbia.
Okay.
Okay.
Classic.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
Yours?
Charbroiled oysters from Ukulele.
Oh, nice.
So good.
Those are really good.
Yeah, those are
Or
really
the
good.
we were talking the rooster and the till, the
They've got great
the
food.
cobia collar.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a really good one.
Mm.
What is one thing you must do in Tampa Bay and why?
Okay, so I answered this question earlier. I said the Columbia restaurant because that's just culture, history, and cuisine.
Yeah.
All right there.
Mhm.
That
And
is
you're in Ybor. You can take a
yes,
walk down the
exactly.
street if you want.
You can see a chicken outside. Like that's
Yeah.
so cool. But then also, I mean, you could see a flamenco show. You can just see the rich history. Like the culture is so cool. I just think like the vibe in there is really interesting. And I mean, it's the oldest restaurant in Florida. It's
Yes.
I think the
A lot of
oldest
stories
Spanish
from there,
restaurant
too.
in the US.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, why not?
So I love a lot of places. My list, it's hard to narrow down because I mean, The Florida aquarium's actually where my husband and I had our first date.
Oh, wow.
Aw.
Like, I love going there, and we've taken the kids there a lot. Um, the Children's Museum, so many places, but I also love actually getting an e-boat
Yeah.
on the
Yes.
Hillsborough River
Mhm.
and getting it down here by the convention center.
The views are incredible.
And yes, and you can put 10 people on there.
Mhm.
Sometimes we'll get some friends together with kids and like put ice cream in a cooler
Yeah.
and go out and have ice cream and go along the river and see everything.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, I love that.
And it's nice to hear that locals are also doing that. And it's not just visitors. So,
Yes.
yeah, good to
Yeah,
know.
that's something
Yes.
I haven't done yet. I really need to do that.
Yeah,
Oh
me
yeah,
too.
you've got to. And you
Yeah.
don't have to have any experience driving a boat.
No,
Like I usually drive it. It's
Yeah, people are
just
like, do you need a boating
an
license? And
electric.
I'm like, nope.
No, yeah,
No,
yeah.
you can just crash them into
Yeah.
the wall. No problem. Mine would be kind of somewhat water centric, but I just think going down Bayshore Boulevard, like a walk or a
Yes.
run. I like to run, so a run down Bayshore Boulevard,
Yes.
but just so a run, walk, bike, whatever, down Bayshore, and then maybe
Yes.
connect to the
Mhm.
Riverwalk. And if you want to do a little longer one, you can do the Riverwalk as well. But
Pass by the Jose Gasparilla ship and see all the
Yes.
mansions on Bayshore
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
see the water.
It is.
and
It's so
It's so
beautiful.
beautiful.
yeah.
Yes.
All right, we'll do a couple more.
'Kay.
What would be the perfect day in Tampa Bay?
Ooh.
That's that. There's so many like different ways you
Mm.
could do that. I think for me it would be probably paddleboarding somewhere, maybe
Mhm.
down the Hillsborough and like a mangrove somewhere. Then
And like at sunset
yeah,
or even sunrise,
Mhm.
like to me, that doing a water sport and seeing the beautiful colors with the downtown buildings.
Urban
like,
Kai does a sunset paddle tour, which is
Yeah.
really, really cool.
yeah,
Yep, I agree with
super
you.
cool.
Yep.
and then dinner somewhere good.
Yeah.
Drinks.
Yeah.
Probably Rooster in the Till.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if you're adventurous, like we talked about earlier, iFly is really cool.
Yeah, even like Empower Adventures,
Yeah.
zip line in the morning, go to
Yes.
Fap Eat Farm for lunch and take a tour of the farm and then head back to Tampa and, hang out on the Riverwalk, go
Mhm.
to Davis Islands. I feel like there's just so much that you can do. I feel like you
There
could make like
is.
multiple perfect days in Tampa.
There
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And I tried to hit so many destinations in here. I might have missed some, but I tried to do,
I
since
think you
there's
did great.
50 questions.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, what are the things I've done with my kids that we
Yeah.
absolutely love and what I've heard from other parents, And I think we've done most of them. So I really feel like, this destination has so much for kids and families.
Yeah. All right, this is the last one. I really like this question too. This was one that got me thinking.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a kind of like night at the museum when I heard the question. But if you could spend the night at any museum in Tampa Bay, which one would it be and why? Anna, you want to go first?
Maybe Mosey, right?
I think that's really
Because
cool.
it reminds me of Night at the Museum.
Yeah,
it
like,
definitely does.
especially, when they have like a dinosaur exhibit or something with space, right? I just feel like I could totally spend the night in there and just be looking up at everything and like,
Well,
oh,
and they
this is
also
so cool.
right, and they also just opened their new digital dome, so maybe they could put some
Yes.
like
Yeah, have you
star.
been
You could
there
sleep
yet?
under the
I
stars.
haven't been there yet, but
It's really
see,
cool.
that would be super cool.
They could do, like, a
put
nice
some
little
sleeping
graphic.
bags. Hey,
Yeah.
we're thinking of ideas for them.
They work with USF,
Yeah.
so maybe they can have the students program like a nice little night sky, and you could sleep under the stars.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That's one of those places I feel like I haven't been to in a while, but it's like you read this, you do the conversation cards. It gets you thinking about new things. You're like, yeah, Mosey. Like, why haven't I been there in a while?
Yeah.
I want to go see the new Digital Dome Theater. I want to see what kind of exhibits they have.
Exactly. And that's the cards not only for kids, but for adults.
Yeah.
It's like good reminders of, hey, we've got all these amazing things right here in Tampa Bay.
It's very enriching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think if I had to stay in a museum all night in Tampa, it would probably be the Glacier Children's Museum.
Yeah.
I think it would
Good
be
choice.
I think it would be
Yeah.
so much fun. They have like the coolest stuff there.
Well,
I
even
know
that
it's for
little like
children,
netting
but-
thing that they
Yeah,
have.
I would
that,
sleep
like,
in that.
yeah.
I would literally sleep in that. They probably have like a ball pit that I could sleep
I
in.
love that.
Hang out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
That's a good one. I would do
Yeah.
the Florida Aquarium.
Yep.
Just because then you can
Yeah.
kind of see everything without like,
Yes.
I don't know if that's really a museum, but we'll just
No,
kind of
but
bend
yeah.
the rules a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's usually, like, packed when you get in there, and so maybe you go a little faster than you
Mhm.
normally would, but
And
you can
they
have time to
do
spend with all the.
overnight trips
Do
for
they really?
kids.
They
Yes. So
do.
Oh,
my
wow.
That's really cool.
yes, my kids have both been there to do overnight school trips. And
Okay.
you can literally sleep in front of like one of the aquariums with like sharks swimming by. Like
Well,
Oh,
it is so cool.
they have that whole it's the tank that it goes around and there's different,
Yes.
like walls that you
viewpoints,
can
yeah.
viewpoints, yeah, that's probably a better way to describe that. But then there's the full wall that you can see inside and then just
Mhm.
The
kind of
big
the
one.
benches, yeah, the
Yeah.
huge one and then there's just benches in
Yeah.
front where you can kind of just sit down and relax, but like I think rolling out a bunch of sleeping bags out there would be really really fun.
I
Yeah.
know my daughter's a huge fan of the aquarium. We're
Yes.
annual pass members, and so I think she would really, really love that.
Oh
The
yeah.
idea of
Yeah,
being able
I'm
to sleep
assuming
next to
they
a shark.
still do it, but both of my kids through our school did
Did it.
school overnight learning experiences where
It's
they
really
came
cool.
in and the aquarium staff, had a lesson to begin with about all the marine animals, and then they got to sleep right in front of the aquarium or the actual big tanks, and
Yeah.
both of them loved it.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, Anna, thank you so much. This has been great.
Thank you
We
for
learned a
having
lot.
me.
Yeah. The game conversation cards is called Kids Travel Talk. You can get them
Yes.
at the Unlocking Tampa Bay Visitor Center. You can get them at visittampabay.com. You want to plug
Mhm.
your website again
My
too?
website is kidstraveltalk.com, and that's also for my Facebook and Instagram, where I'm starting to post a lot of things there for families and travel and just getting everyone's interest and seeing, what destinations they're interested in.
Yeah, awesome. We'll definitely keep a lookout for that. They're conversation cards. Be sure to pick them up in one of those places. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Unlocking Tampa Bay. Join us next time as we unlock more treasures around Tampa Bay.